Yo, what is up, y'all? Dubsmine here today, and we're doing the game preview for the Warriors versus the Mavericks game, the Christmas Day game. But I'm making this literally a full day before because, it's Christmas. I'm trying to spend time with my family, not trying to make this video, obviously. So I'm going to end up just recording this day before and then upload it so it's scheduled so the video releases, like a few hours before the game. And well, we're just gonna go over some news real quick, and obviously the whole Draymond Green situation, which I just think is genuinely just stupid about like the people's speculations. Like, people are blowing it up obviously more than it needs to be, like every single time with news and sports articles. Like, it makes sense because literally this just released today where Steve Kerr shoulders blame for heated Draymond Green bench incident. And people were, the fact that, just to recap, it's just like they were in a heated argument and then he left to the locker room and didn't play in the game. And this is what they talked about, where Steve said, "We talked today, we had a great chat. Frankly, Monday night was not my finest hour. That was the time I needed to be calm in the huddle, so I regret my actions in that exchange. I apologized to Dre, he apologized to me, we both apologized to the team. These things, they happen, especially when you get two incredibly competitive people like Dre and me. Over the 12 years we've been together, this has happened occasionally. I'm not proud of it. We had a great chat. I care so much about Draymond. The relationship we have with him is like family, and like family, you go through ups and downs. My number one goal, honestly, is for him to finish his career as a Warrior with us, fighting metaphorically, not literally, and competing together until we're both done. And I believe that's going to happen because I believe in Draymond, I believe in myself, and I believe in everything we've built for the last 12 years. He expects the very best from Draymond in the game against the Mavs. I do. I think there's always going to be dynamics with the team. Well, so he said "I do" when he was asked. The air within the team was clear now. And said there will be dynamics within the team. Any team that exists all season long is the coach's job and the leaders of the team's job to help guide through circumstances. We have issues just like every other team has issues. We have to work through them. I believe this was a major step in that happening. I feel really good about where our team is on the floor, about where we're heading. I see the potential to do exactly what we did last year, to really go on a run and give ourselves a chance. And it's like, oh yeah, one of the things I love about Draymond is his loyalty. He's loyal to Warriors, loyal to me, loyal to Steph Curry. He wants to be here his whole career. I want nothing more than that. I love Draymond, love everything he's meant to me. The organization to the Bay is a complicated guy. He'd be the first to admit that. He's very complex, but he's undoubtedly loyal and passionate. I will go to bat for him as long as I'm coaching him here. Honestly, I'd go bat for him 20 years from now when we haven't been together. That's how strongly I feel about him, and that's how I want this thing to end with us, whenever that is. Yeah, and like, people are blowing this up because people really like painting this picture about Draymond, and I, understandably so, with like the previous like stuff that has happened with him. Even those, some of them have some like reasons why it happened that's somewhat valid. Obviously, not saying none of the blame goes on Draymond, but like a lot of the past things like isn't all just Draymond. There's a reason why it started. And this is something that you see when you're actually a Warriors fan. You're not just a regular NBA fan that just skims through the internet with social media and just random or headline clicky articles. Like, when you actually see the whole process through as a fan, you get to see what happens with the team more than 90% of the fan base that's like a again, general NBA fan or a non-Warrior fan. And it's just kind of annoying seeing it all come together. It's just, yeah. Because the reason why I say this is because people were painting this picture on Draymond where he's like, oh, he left the team, he just went to a locker room, left the team to, play on their own. But that's not even true, because the thing is, if you look at it here, he's right there on the bench. This is from the YouTube video, from the NBA, from the highlights. He's right there sitting next to Al Horford. And also, if you listen to what Steve Kerr had to say after the game, he talked about, the question was posed that he was back at, like the reporter said, he was back at the bench. Did you have an implication, or do you have a reason, like, play him, or is there a reason why he didn't play him, whatever? And Steve Kerr just said, like, under the current circumstances, like, he wasn't, like, the most ready to play, or whatever the hell it was. And I think Draymond said something along the lines of, like, yeah, I went to a locker room, I was pretty stiff anyway, so it's good that he didn't put me back in. And the thing is, like, yeah, Steve Kerr made the decision to not play him. It's not like Draymond walked off the team, like walked away from the team fully and just left them, on their own. Like, he literally came back onto the bench. He was able to play, but Steve Kerr was a guy that made the decision not to play him, especially because the unit that was out there already was making such a good run and, doing good, and giving the Warriors a big lead, like, as you can see here. So and the thing is, like, people talk about the fact that you walked off to the locker room as a bad thing, and I'm like, is that really a bad thing when you think about it? Because it's like, do you really want a guy that was just heated and was in an argument with the coach still on your bench at the same time, and just keep that tension, like, throughout the bench? Like, I think it's a good thing, if you ask me. If anything, it showed that Draymond has changed as a person, where he's not completely letting his tempers take a hold of him, especially because this was just a within the bench thing, and it was just about basketball. And the thing is, Draymond went to the locker room to cool his head and then came back as a more calm person. that's different. Like, that's not something that Draymond has done before. I think that shows how he's changed as a person, and for the better. Like, I feel like this is such a nothing burger just because I feel like, dude, NBA teams always get into arguments. It's always a thing. It's just we don't see them, you know. We just got to see it because it was on the sidelines, but that's it. Like, literally every team goes through this type of thing. Now, how bad it can be is, you know, different between each team and their situation, but this one, obviously, it was just all about basketball. It was not that bad. And if you listen to what Draymond had to say, listen to what Steve had to say even before this article came up, like, after the game, it was not bad. They were just like, yeah, I understand the situation. I was, you know, heated in the moment, but, you know, Draymond said, like, oh, we brush it aside. We'll go through it, you know. I don't know. Again, I just personally think it's just kind of an over-exaggeration of everything, especially since, again, like, you know, as we know now, like, they literally just apologize to each other and just gonna roll with what they got. If anything, from the post-game comments, Steve Kerr's comments was more on the side of, like, where, okay, maybe he is actually a little mad, while Draymond seemed a lot more calm about the whole situation. And, well, now Steve apologized, and now they're both calm about the situation. If anything, Steve said it was not his finest hour. If anything, that it was a time I need to be calm in the huddle. So again, like, these are grown men who've worked with each other for about, like, 12 years, right, or something like that. So just let them do what they know best for each other, okay? And I get the whole Draymond situation with, like, KD and JP, whatever, okay? But this doesn't even come close to those situations, especially with the KD or the JP one, because that was like an actual physical thing. That was, you know, terrible, obviously. Now this one is a kind of like a makes sense situation, but also it's like, oh, okay, he is kind of mad, but. Says Mark Spears says he's hearing that Draymond is a little frustrated with having to guard centers and having to guard guys that are 40 to 50 pounds heavier than him on a nightly basis, and that's fair. That's absolutely fair, because again, the whole preseason talk during the season for this season was we're not going to try to play Draymond as much at the 5, but look at what happened. And Draymond's now playing a ton of minutes at the 5. And I think that's a lot on Steve. Like, this is one part I will criticize. QP should be playing more than 19 minutes a game. Since he's averaging less than 19 minutes a game. He should be the starter next to Draymond and Jimmy, regardless of who the guards are. Regardless of if even Steph Curry is playing. I don't care about the spacing or whatever the hell. Just get QP out there. And then again, now you have also Al Horford, who's injured. Again, that's less a Draymond thing and more a MDJ type thing. And even then, Mike Dunleavy Jr. is working with the very smallest amount of resources possible because of what Bob Myers did before he left his team to just die on his own, essentially. If you ask me, I love Bob Myers. He's a nice guy and all, and he's done his due diligence of different things. I just think he gets too much credit for what he's done, though. Because getting KD, that was a Joe Lacob thing, not a Bob Myers thing per se. And all the draftees he's drafted has not panned out. Whether it's on Steve or on someone else, different situation. But when you look at what MDJ has done in his drafting already, it's miles better than what Bob Myers did, which is Bob Myers drafted Jacob Evans III. Okay, I'm going back. Jacob Evans III, Alan Smiley-Gage, Nico Mannion, Eric Pascal, all guys out of the league immediately. And then you have, I think then it becomes the 2020 drafts. That's James Wiseman, again, bad. 2021, I still have hope for him too, though, because I did like him during his rookie season, honestly, but again, still bad. And then you had JK and Moody, which was a good pick, but also JK now, you know, he's not playing much, kind of a bad pick. Moody, solid pick, so I'll give him that. But that was also when MDJ, if I'm not mistaken, was in the Warriors front office role. Sure, maybe he was in the role for some of these other picks, but again, you know, Moody, I'll say, okay, I'll ignore the whole MDJ as an assistant thing. Okay, Moody, I'll give him as a pick, right? 2021 comes, Ryan Rollins, Patrick Baldwin Jr. Ryan Rollins definitely is thriving right now, but obviously did not thrive in our situation, so I wouldn't say it's a great pick. And then PBJ, G League, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. And then you go into the following year, which was... And then Mike Dunleavy comes in June. I mean, it was technically like a co-drafting type thing with Bob Myers. But I mean, it says Bob Myers' end was May, and the draft is usually in late June, right? So it was June 22nd was the draft. Obviously, Bob Myers probably had some input in the 2023 draft. But again, it was mainly a Mike Dunleavy draft. That was when we struck gold with Pods and TJD. say all you want to say about Pods. He was the 16th pick. We didn't expect much from this draft pick. I remember this back then. We were like, okay, we might get a good, solid player, maybe at best. But again, it just really depends on what the Warriors do. And the initial pre-draft thing with Pods was terrible too among the fans. I personally liked him coming in too. I was like, oh, he's a 3-and-D guard. I can do a lot of different things. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it's really nice. But again, Mike Dunleavy with, Pods, first of all, great pick because he is he was like the one bright spot we had for that season too. And also adding TJD, those two. Both making all rookie teams, by the way. Actually, well, no. TJD missed out the second team by 1 vote. I'm not mistaken, I think. Yeah. But then TJD in the second round draft, great hit. And then now Mike Dunleavy's working with very minimal draft picks in terms of not much first rounders. So then the following draft, 2024, we get QP and Guy Santos, because I think Guy did get drafted, right? Yes, so then those two guys are playing very, very big roles on the team right now. So again, MDJ was working with the very minimal amount of assets that he had because of Bob Myers. So it's not necessarily his fault for the current team construction, because again, it all stems, in my opinion, from Bob Myers and his bad asset mismanagement. Especially with the whole James Wiseman trade was terrible. We kept Eric Pascal wasn't even traded. I think we just literally, or no, he did get traded, I guess, but not for much. And then Alan Smailagic, Nico Mannion, they just get waived, obviously. This is why, again, I just can't blame it on MDJ too much either. This just all stems back from Bob Myers and his terrible decisions. And I mean, yeah, so I don't blame anyone for Draymond's frustration per se too much, besides, again, Steve Kerr not playing QP more minutes. So yeah, the thing is, we need another big. Even with Al Horford, I feel like with how much he's been out, we need a true center. It doesn't have to be a traditional inside the paint center. It can be an Al Horford, Quinn Post type guy who can shoot threes. But again, we just need someone tall. It's just we need I think QP can very much be a very good starting center in the NBA, especially with the defensive leaps he's made this season. It's definitely possible. But even if he's starting, we need someone as a backup, and Al Horford, he's been good, if anything. I think he's been really good for us. It's just, again, he's old, so he's going to be in and out the lineup. So you need a third center who can be consistent as that backup. TJD is kind of emerging as that. But again, TJD has his rough spots. He's been pretty good these last few games, so I'm not going to say that he's been bad or anything. But, he's going to be on and off and stuff. And maybe this is another Steve Kerr thing. Maybe he should play him more. Who knows? But I feel like you need another guy that's a solidified NBA starter type person that can be a backup for QP, and then Al Horford and that new center can rotate between each other as the backup centers, and even if you feel like the new center you get is better than QP, then you can start that guy and have QP come off the bench. That part's really just the small details. I don't really care. But again, that's what I'm talking about, is we need to get a center anyways. And this frustration by Draymond is totally justified, especially, again, like I said, with what we said before the season of we're not trying to play Draymond as much at the 5. And now that's all out the window, so yeah. And I think that is kind of Steve Kerr playing his also small ball lineups. That's kind of also Steve's fault. I don't think the small ball lineups itself are bad. I think it's fine, especially people were hating on it when we played that lineup against the Suns. But it's the Suns only have Marco Williams. That's fine. You can play a small lineup, and even then, I think the small lineup was mainly utilized against when they don't have a big guy. Because again, the Suns weren't known for having big guys. That's a very long tangent for such a small, well, it's supposed to be a small article here, but yeah. Let's get into the actual now recap or preview of the Mavs and the Warriors tomorrow at 2 p.m. Local time. Matchup predictor has 72% to the 28% against Dallas, which is, sure, but that feels, again, I don't feel like we're that dominant over this team. They're pretty solid. They're not bad, especially the recent games. I think they're pretty good, especially last night's game was pretty dope. I caught the end of it. They beat Dallas. Not Dallas, sorry, Denver. So, but again, they lost to New Orleans, so maybe it's fair. I don't know, man. But they beat it's funny, they beat good teams, but they lost against bad teams. So hey, we'll see. But again, in that case, I just don't think it should be maybe 60-40, but 72-28 is crazy in my opinion. But again, here we go with the injury report. So like I said, this is the day before, so injuries and stuff might change. So yeah. So Warriors, Al Horford is probable. Hey, let's go. He's gonna be back. So let's see if the center problem is fixed now, because he might actually play now. Seth is still injured, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. I don't know what happened really, but though I remember though, because his debut game, he had like a crazy three that he hit because he like slipped or something, but it definitely looked like he was like hurting afterwards. I remember this now, so maybe that's been lingering, which is kind of sad to see. But again, so that's the reason why he hasn't been playing. I think once he becomes healthy, he is going to get some minutes, though. That debut game was definitely impressive, so yeah. And then for the Mavericks, so they have a whole lot of people out. So obviously, Derek Lively, Kyrie Irving, and Dante Exum all are players that we already knew about. So Max Christie was out against the Nuggets, but we'll see if he's going to play. He's day-to-day. Same with Dwight Powell, and so it's literally everyone. See, this is the issue when you make videos early, is injury reports aren't accurate, obviously. We'll see if these guys play, but that still means that there's a good chance that like most of their team is gonna play. I'm actually, again, low-key kind of scared to play this team just because they have AD. And people are gonna be like, oh my god, you're scared about AD? Bro, AD, I'm sorry, is like the reason why that the Warriors lost that playoff series in 2023. I know people like to say like, oh well, LeBron beat the Warriors, and he played well. I'm not saying he didn't, and he was definitely really good and was one of the reasons why he beat us. But man, AD was killing us, because I remember the series so vividly. Like, we couldn't score in the paint at all, and we had to settle with threes, and then they had pretty good perimeter guards with the Lakers, so like they were able to guard us on the 3-point line pretty well, so that's why we struggled throughout the series. And obviously, you know, AD's lost his step. He's not as athletic as before and stuff like that, but still, it's AD. He's been the Warriors' kryptonite regardless of the situation, I feel like, every single time. So yeah, we'll see, because like we never faced the Mavs with Anthony Davis, I think, because we faced them without Anthony Davis last year towards the end of the season when the trade happened, because I remember that game where Quentin Grimes cooked us for like 40 or something. Or no, that's not the game. It was someone. It was one of these bench players that cooked us absolutely. I remember this, but yeah, because Quentin Grimes went to the 76ers, and that was the game he cooked us, so that's different. But yeah, still, I remember that game was without Anthony Davis, and then obviously they have Cooper Flag, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup, because this is again a fully new team that we never faced before, essentially. So yeah, so let's look at their team stats. So they're pretty bad overall in offense. 23rd in points, raw points scored. 21st in turnovers. 23rd in assist. Let's see, 25th in free throw percentage. I mean, they still get to the line a lot, but they don't actually capitalize on those shots. 17th, sorry, in 2-point percentage, which is, I mean, that's raw numbers. They're both 6th, but that still puts them at 17th. Interesting, but yeah. So they're not like great. They're not bad, but they're not great either. Absolutely terrible. About 28th in 3-point percentage. I mean, I guess some of these numbers are kind of skewed because of all their injuries and whatever. It's just that happened. I mean, let's see what their last is. Their team stats by game. So I just pulled up the last 5 game stats from StatMuse for the Mavericks. Just to get like a decent idea of a more accurate number. So they are actually still a terrible 3-point percentage team. If anything, it's like worse than what the overall season number is at, I think, because it was at like 33% or something. Yeah, it was at 33%. While their last 5 games has been 28%. That's crazy. Okay. But yeah, they have 15.6 turnovers a game, which should not be terrible. No, actually, no, that's like the same as their season average. So they've not been that great these last few games. Yeah, this even takes into account the Nuggets game, but yeah. I mean, they've been scoring inside a lot better, though, because shooting 50% from the field despite a 26% 3-point percentage means that you're scoring in the paint or the 2-pointers pretty well, so that's that. So, I mean, again, I think they are just a team they are this team, essentially. Like, it accurately represents it, so yeah. They're number 1st in minutes played per game, so I'm assuming that means that they had a lot of OT games, I'm assuming. So yeah. Defense is where they're gonna hold their hat a little bit high. 18th in points, opposing points scored. I mean, we can check so yeah, defensive rating isn't, wow, that's a big difference. 18th in raw points opposing scoring. but 9th in defensive rating is a pretty big jump. Usually it correlates pretty well, but that's a pretty huge jump. So the offensive rating is damn near the worst in the league, but they have a top 10 defense, which is kind of similar to us, but our offense is a little better than this. But yeah, so while they don't make their threes, they are one of the best in the league at guarding the three-point line, which is going to be a very interesting dynamic, especially with how our offense has, like, it's been better these last few games, but again, it's been a struggle, so we'll see. Again, I get that raw numbers don't necessarily correlate with the percentage, but 29th in field goals allowed and 30th in attempts allowed, but 9th in percentage is it's a very interesting stat, to say the least, but I guess that means okay. They do again guard really well because they're really good at guarding the three, and the 2-point percentage to their field goal percentage is at 9.2. But they don't actually rebound the ball super often. I guess again that probably has to do with like not having AD for a while. So yeah, they are a team that is more defensively oriented, and their offense is low key just terrible. But yeah. Leading scorers AD and Cooper Flag. I mean, they have a pretty good balanced scoring here, that's pretty nice to see. But yeah, but again, like, their good 3-point percentage like players are just these top 4 players, and like, I mean, they aren't big volume 3-point percentage shooters. So I mean, it's not like they're like scrubs or anything, but yeah, again, they only have 4 players above 35% on 3-pointers. Everyone else is below that, so it's a lot of bad 3-point shooters on their team. So I think as long as we have a good defensive game inside the paint, we're gonna have a pretty good time. Obviously, to cut down the turnovers, it was a great thing that we did with the Magic game. Like, we cut down turnovers a lot, so that was good. And I think we should have a good game. Let's see. So Pods was amazing, even though I don't think I made him the X Factor last game, but he was amazing. I'll say for this game, let's say DMelt, man. DMelt, he's been struggling shooting the ball a lot. His defense has actually been really good. But again, that Warriors Mavs game last season when we had DMelt was amazing, and a good chunk of the reason why we won that game was because of DMelt. He made a really clutch 3 in that game. I remember this, so yeah. You can see at 12% from 3-point percentage. The thing is, like, I remember his like first few games he looked like he was pretty fine, but oh my god, he hasn't made a 3 since that Chicago game. Okay. I think, yeah, this one Chicago game made me think, oh, he's gonna be fine, and then he's missed. He hasn't made a single 3. Oh my god, okay. But I mean, his 2-point percentage has not been bad. His finishing has been low-key fine. I mean, 41%, not amazing. Obviously not. If anything, that's not good. But I mean, for a person that's been again injured for a full year and such, like, that's fine. I do like his like actual like not process, but like actual like thought process of driving in the paint, because that leads to like 3s and like good fouls and whatnot and free throws. So I definitely want to give him credit there. But again, yeah, I think him playing that good defense, I think he might get some Cooper Flag matchups. And then obviously if his 3-pointer can come along during one of these games and, you know, start becoming more consistent, because I don't expect him to be 12% for the rest of the game, the season. So yeah, if that could come along, I think we'll be in a pretty good spot. So yeah, that's gonna be it, I think, for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.